And we feel strongly and have agreed with the Chinese that we need a level playing field. Now, when we interfere, when we have regulations that affect our trade and investment with China, if it's national security or other reasons, we go through an open and transparent rule writing process. We put out proposed regulations. We accept comments. The Chinese have the opportunity to comment. We take the input and we write regulations. It's very clear what we're doing. In China's case, often the support, we believe there's maybe often a lot of support in ways that are not transparent. And that really is a meaningful difference. But we're not trying to stifle trade and investment, broadly speaking. So I would not want to advise American firms don't do business in China.
One thing that's helped the dynamic is the U.S. is coming with a strong hand right now on our economy.
I think we can feel great about our economy.
I was going to ask you what you made of this last jobs report.
Well, it just shows the U.S. is firing on all cylinders. I mean, in terms of short-term performance, inflation is coming down. The job market is very strong. Growth has really been a lot stronger than I would have expected at this stage. We had 3.1% growth last year. Inflation's coming down. Labor supply is up. And we're seeing some of the pressures we might worry about coming from the labor market impacting inflation. They're subsiding, but unemployment remains very low.
You're still confident we can get to 2% this year? We've seen a little bit of a flare-up so far this year.
Well, I think it will continue to come down over time. That's my expectation. Profitable company, and I think they're concerned by the prospect that they would be forced out of the United States, or what the legislation really requires is that they would sell the company to a domestic purchaser. So I think they certainly have concerns about that.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And you know I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you're joining the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. And if you're a part of the Patrons, make sure you watch the Solar Eclipse video. You know it's things I can say in Patreon that I can't say here. But I am going to touch on it a little bit in this video. But we have Janet Yellen says a level playing field. Guys, we know she's talking all about the fourth industrial revolution, where the robots, algorithms, and drones take the economy over, pay each other with crypto, and the sheep go inside the metaverse. We know a Treasury Secretary in the United States has no business in China. She can't tell them what to do unless they're on the same page. And guys, we know this is nothing but the Hegelian dialectic. We know the emerging markets, China is going to be leading this new digital economy. And Janet Yellen does it again. The United States economy is running on all cylinders. Guys, we've seen this movie before. We know America is nothing but Babylon 2.0. And with the eclipse, we have Nimrod's Nineveh coming up a lot. And my people perish from the lack of knowledge because they reject it. Not because it's not there, it's because they reject it. And we know if we look at the original map of the United States, none of these cities, none of these states recall these names. This is man strategically making strategic moves around the Most High signs. But when we look at the city of Nineveh, we had Jonah telling the people to repent. And when we look at the state of the United States, I suggest the sheep do the same. And remember the Crypto Teacher told you. And make sure you go watch that Solar Eclipse video in my Patreon. You can go to either Patreon to watch the video. Now, we also had Janet Yellen talking about TikTok. Now, guys, even though TikTok makes a lot of money, there's a lot of apps that could make a lot of money in China that China does not allow. Again, this is nothing but the Hegelian dialectic. And then we have an immigration bill to let immigrants get first-time home buyer loans. And again, guys, we've seen this movie before. And again, in my Patreon, I did an immigration video letting you know this has been done before in history. Remember, guys, you got to notice a pattern because in the playbook, if it works, you keep going back to the playbook. Remember, if you're bringing people in that are coming from nothing, they're going to be more appreciative. But we know that's nothing but the devil's tricks. But if you look at the immigrants, they believe in family. They can go into a house with 10 people in the home and make sure they're paying rent. Americans don't want to do that. Families have been broken apart strategically. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And then, guys, we have gold hitting another all-time high. And what does a man talk about? The emerging markets and the central banks. And we know the central banks are loading up gold because we know we're going to a cashless society, and they've already destroyed all fiat because the digital economy is coming. That programmable money telling you what, when, and how to buy, and you have 3 to 6 months to spend it or poof, it's gone. And remember, blockchain gives the NWO the all-seeing eye. They'll know you better than you know yourself. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And then we have Jamie Dimon sends out another warning. Interest rates could stay higher for longer. And guys, we know the central banks want to higher for longer because they have to destroy this economy. We're in a fragmented world. And in a fragmented world, they have to break up everything in order to bring in the machines. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. Because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
In California, that would make illegal migrants eligible for first-time home buyer loans. Should migrants be entitled to those loans, Doctor?
So many of our young people, young couples, are just giving up on the American dream because it's so hard for them to own a home. And now you got California trying to get homes for illegal immigrants. Are you kidding me? It's absurd. And, anytime when we're thinking about rights for criminals and people who are doing things illegally over the rights of our own people, we have a major problem. And I hope the American people recognize that.
The gold is one of the star performers this year, up 13% to an historic high, outperforming stocks and bonds. What's
bunch of reasons. Never just one thing with gold, but we've got good, strong jewelry demand in the emerging markets. You've mentioned India and China, but all across the emerging markets, that's a very good demand there. We've got very strong demand from emerging markets, central banks, and we've also got renewed investor demand. And I think that that's building some momentum for gold, which is always a good thing.
A different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of the huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, well, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we can have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
very much a traditionalist. I like staying with the dollar. You know that from when I was there. It's make the dollar the choice. I hate when countries go off the dollar. I would not allow countries to go off the dollar, because when we lose that standard, that will be like losing a revolutionary war. That will be a hit to our country, just like losing a war. And we can't let that happen. And too many countries now are fighting to get off the dollar. And
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get on stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing they were still getting that free money, what are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate. Not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Drama Team save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Drama Team save New York from COVID-33. Part 3, King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.